And we are back with another combine edition of the Doing All Right podcast on this lovely Thursday. We appreciate y'all for tapping in with us. Bryan Broaddus is on the big screen there, joining us from Indy, holding it down over there. Sir, what's happening with you?
I'm doing very well, Vachi. Thank you very much. Your good buddy David Hellman wanted me to tell you hello. So he's sitting right across from me right now. I'm getting the vibes of his big brain. So this ought to be a really good show for us today.
Dave is the GOAT. He's one of 4 reasons why I'm doing this. You know what I'm saying? You know,
Dave is the GOAT. You're absolutely right about that.
You're another quarter of it, and 2 other people. You know, Dane and Jeff are the other two quarters of it. So shouts out to y'all. You feel me?
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that.
Hey, Brian, listen, man, we got 56 days to the NFL draft and all that good stuff. It's winding down. And boy, when y'all get to the combine, all of the mess come out. I was taking a walk the other day, and my hotline bling, Brian. You know what that means when my hotline bling?
I do.
My phone vibrated a little taste. You know what I'm saying?
It did. It did.
And you know, this a good time for a character like me to jump on social media, tweet, and make jokes. While I was on social media, Brian, Brandon Aubrey and his beloved wife have hopped on the Instagram and said them peoples over on the radio at 105.3 is a damn lie. Now, Brian, I even saw Todd Franz walking around the bus. You feel me? Mm-hmm. But if it's one thing, hold on, goddammit. Hold on. If there's anything I trust,
yeah,
I don't trust Todd France. I don't trust 2 people trying to get millions of dollars from an org. I don't trust them people. I trust that damn phone, Bryan Broaddus. So, can you get the people an update on the Aubreys and Todd France calling y'all a damn lie?
Yeah, this is coming from my side of the, which would be the Cowboys side of things. You know, you always want to get both sides of the story if you can, but from the Cowboy point of view, where the Aubreys are absolutely right is the offer was not over $7.5 million. The offer was right near $7 million. So that part of it is actually they're right. The Dallas did not offer 7.5, but the number's probably somewhere between maybe 6, 7, somewhere right around there where, you know, the top kicker is being paid. But I did hear that their counter was $10 million, that coming from the Cowboys. So yes, the Aubreys are absolutely right about about what the Cowboys did. But the Cowboys are saying, well, they asked for 10 right off the jump. So, you know, like I say, we're kind of at the mercies of our sources. Yeah. But talking to several people in the Cowboys organization, that's where we're at right now with that particular thing. And hopefully we'll get the tender that'll come up. Whether it's the first round tender, it's 8.1 million. The second round tender is roughly 5.8 million, I believe. And then there's about 3.5 million, which is the right of first refusal. So one of those things will fall in line for Brandon Aubrey, and going forward, that's what we'll know.
Brian, we got some breaking news around the league. Then we're gonna get right back into the Aubrey thing. Have you seen the trade that just happened here 21 minutes ago?
I heard about this. People. That's what the great thing about being at the combine. Everybody's all together, so you could go have dinner and talk these things out, or catch somebody walking over to the Lucas Oil. But who went? Was it? Did a receiver? Did we trade for a receiver here? I didn't. Sean Sharif was telling me about it, but he didn't give me all the details. What do you got for us?
The Jets are sending defensive end Jermaine Johnson to the Titans.
Okay, it's not receiver, it's defensive end. Okay, he was sitting like wide receiver. I'm like, what? Okay, okay, we got a defensive end moving. Okay, cool.
D end sent to the Titans in exchange for Tavondre Sweat. He'll be going to the Giants there. So Mozzie just got cut. Essentially looks like. So we're getting some movement here, Brian. That's not cowboy, that's not a cowboy move. But Brian, did you feel like Jermaine Johnson was maybe a guy that the Cowboys could have been in the market for, like an edge that the Cowboys could have been looking to trade for?
No, I didn't get that feeling really that much. To me, it seems very focused right now on. Seems very focused on with the draft. We had a chance this morning to visit with Will McClay, and I know you and I'll get into that. Mm-hmm. But it seemed that they were, free agency will be a part of this. But the names and stuff like that, I haven't heard many things with names coming out of these last couple of days. What I did find was something was pretty interesting, that these agents that are meeting with Jerry and Steven on the bus, it seems very much like it's more of a get to know you meeting, like before they actually negotiate. Yeah. There hasn't been any real negotiating on the bus. It's more like, hey, we realize that we have a situation with you that we need to get taken care of. These agents are getting on the bus with maybe the expectations of, hey, we're going to hammer out a deal here. That's really has not been the case here. Like, say, for the first couple of days, it's been more, hey, we understand there's something we have to do. Maybe we can talk a little parameters, but as far as hammering deals out, it seems like that these bus visits have been more about laying groundwork going forward.
You mentioned something to me off the live here, Bryan. And you were saying something just back on Aubrey for a second, right? You was talking about tenders. You know what I'm saying? What you was so yesterday you were saying that you would pay Aubrey not 10 or whatever, but you would pay him around 7 or 8. You know what I'm saying?
I would, yeah. I would consider the tender there, yeah.
I'm of the mindset of I'll go find some kicker fresh out of college that plays soccer or something and try to save that money and give it to Minka Fitzpatrick or something. That's just something that I would do, right? But the tender though, Bryan, could you talk us through that?
Yeah, there's 3 different levels of this tender. There's going to be one where Dallas can, because he's a restricted free agent, there's a way that Dallas can put a tender guaranteeing him $8.1 million for the 1 year. If in fact somebody wants to come and sign a deal with Aubrey, another team, they in fact can do that, and he can accept to sign the deal. Dallas would then have the opportunity to say, yes, we will take the deal as negotiated by the team. It's kind of a right of first refusal. And so if Dallas would say, well, you negotiated a deal of $10 million, we don't believe in that. We're not going to do that. And then you would take that team's first round pick. And so that's for 8.1. And then you got the one for 5.8, I believe. It's the second round tender. Yeah. So yeah, it's the whole different thing. If Dallas decides we don't want to pay $8 million, we're going to take your second round pick. And then the last one is like a $3.5 million. And that's just the right of first refusal. You don't get any compensation at that, just the right to refuse. So there's 3 different levels that the Cowboys could play with. And that will be something that's coming here once we leave the combine.
Bryan, do you feel a team would bite on that? Like they'll say, hell yeah, we need a kicker that can kick from the logo. Yeah. We'll send you a second round pick. Because honestly, I would love to have a second round pick. The more we be watching film, Bryan, having 12, 20, and 50 something would be awesome, Bryan. But do you think a team would bite on that for a kicker?
Yeah, and let me tell you something, Voch. I'd love to give you that second round pick if you were drafted for the Cowboys.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They've had some troubles.
Yeah.
They've had some troubles, and second round defensive players, there have been some problems there. And so, talking to Will McClay, very confident what they can do and potentially do, but that's his job. And so to me, I'm kind of in that mode right now of like, I think I'd like to have the kicker, but I understand if you gave me a day 2 pick and a team that comes to mind is the Rams. This is a team that is very good offensively. They're really good defensively. They might be the kicker away. Les Snead is one of his famous nicknames is F them picks. And so if Les feels like that going and having Brandon Aubrey as the kicker would solve a lot of their problems, because they might be 1 or 2 players away. I mean, that's a very good football team. So there's teams that are willing to move on. I think teams would be more willing to move on from, and by the way, the Rams have 2 first-round picks. Yep. Now they've got Atlanta's pick as well early in the draft, or actually right behind the Cowboys. Yeah, 13. So yeah. So this might be one of those things that like, are we going to get a better player? Can we solve our kicking situation by giving up pick 29 or giving up a pick later in the second round? They might find that very inviting.
Brian, Will McClay was on 105.3 The Fan this morning.
Yes, sir.
Y'all talked about some good stuff there.
Thank you.
Did you have anything you wanted to lead with, or you wanted me to just run it by you, just to run by what
I'm always interested, boss, what you think about what we were talking about.
I noticed Will McClay shot down that we don't need a whole bunch of different players. We just need them to do different things talk. I love that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If you got, I believe Sean asked if you had a even front end and you play odd front, like, what does that mean? And Will was like, shit, nothing. He just got to do this now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, Brian, with Will he ain't confirm it, Brian, but he kind of confirmed it a little bit. Do you think that some of the guys that's on this roster right now could do these jobs? People are kind of asking us, hey, Voch, why are the Cowboys looking at all these tackles that they talking to at the combine and all this kind of stuff? And you brought up something interesting that may pair with that as well, that they may be looking to see if some of these 3-techs can play some 4-eye or some 5.
There you go.
I'm just looking at my board real fast. Like, Christian Miller from Georgia could probably do something similar to that. Some other of these 3-techs or whatever, Brian. So what did you kind of take away from what Will McClay was saying about that?
Yeah, I think number one is I think Will is very excited to be working with Christian Parker. Will has in the past has had a really good relationship with defensive coordinators, and at times it's been very fruitful. Other times they've missed some picks. I think him and Dan Quinn, he went shoulder to shoulder with Dan Quinn and helped Dan get the players he wants. That's what Will is all about. He is more than willing to try and find you players. What I think is about to happen here is I think the group is going to be very, very small. And I asked Will this question in regard to, you have several guys on the staff that are first-year assistant coaches in the National Football League. And I don't know if I necessarily want somebody brand new coming in and telling me, well, I need this guy, this guy, this guy, when you really don't know the league or you haven't coached in the league. And I'm not saying that you have to be crusty 25-year vet guy to do this. But I think that maybe what you're going to see is Will McClay and Christian Parker and Brian Schottenheimer work very closely together. And maybe those are the three that are going to kind of dictate the way that this thing goes. And they're going to work with the scouts in that way too. Maybe you won't have these young coaches completely immersed, involved in the process. And I think it's going to be a really interesting draft period because of that. I get the feeling that Will wants to work with these coaches, but I think he wants to make sure that Christian Parker is the one that he works with the closest to get the type of players that he wants.
Brian, you think Christian Parker and company is interesting because Will said the whole staff kind of was saying the same thing, right? You think Christian Parker and staff walked up to Will McClay and his staff and went, hey, Will, we can't use dumb people in this defense that we doing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Maybe once upon a time, smarts wasn't all that prioritized. And if you guys want some further context on what we're saying, you can go to 1053thefan.com, the Odyssey app, whatever it is that they do over there, and scroll around to the Will McClay talk, and you'll kind of pick up on what they were saying there, Brian. It seems like the staff went to Will and they incredibly stressed. We need smart dudes that we can't deal. Even if you athletic and dumb, we can't do it, Brian. Would you agree that you kind of picked that up from what he was saying?
No, absolutely I did, because that's the thing that Will was pretty adamant about. And, and Will was even brought up an example of that type of player is what Jordan Lewis was to this organization. A guy that, football smart, football tough, but sees the game, reacts well, doesn't get overwhelmed, not going to make mistakes. It seems like to me that that's where Christian Parker is right now. He is okay with the player, I believe, that has talent, but I think the smarts and the football IQ, I have to think that is top of the line for when they're evaluating these players. Like, okay, if we put this guy on the board, can he take from classroom to practice field to game film, every week? And I think that's going to be line one. I asked Will about, players that love football. I think that's important, but especially on this defensive side of the ball, I think smarts, intelligence are what's going to be the really the most underlying thing that they're going to try and get with this defense.
Bryan, Jeremiah Love on their board somewhere high, huh? You would say?
He is. He absolutely is. Yeah.
All right. I'm not trying to talk myself into nothing to make me feel like a told you so guy type guy, nothing like that. But I feel like just kind of hearing him talk, y'all actually talked to Dane as well. Dane kind of echoes something along that line as well. And I heard something else that made me think about it. I forgot where I heard it from. Maybe it was yesterday or something like that. But I think, and I think they talked to him or something like that. Maybe that's a little something. I don't know. But Bryan, I have the feeling that at the top of that board, based on what we heard from Will McClay, and I can also say from what we heard about Clayton Adams too, Bryan, I think that they're fully geared up to roll with Guyton and Steele. So I think even if they had an opportunity to draft an offensive tackle, I don't think that they would. Bryan, I think they'll draft that damn running back if he's sitting on the board for him and they don't have an elite defender in front of him.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you on this one. I think that, to me, we had a chance to visit with Dane Brugler this morning, and I asked him about, listen, is there an offensive player that you would take? And, me, I'm thinking about Miami, with Mawanoa. I'm thinking about him. But to your point, when you started talking about, Steele and Guyton and those guys, I think they're going to ride with that. But the one guy that Dane was really high on for offensive player was Jordan Love from Notre Dame. And I think the Cowboys think the same thing. I think when the Cowboys stack their board, I have a feeling that Jordan Love is going to be one of the top 5 players on their board. I think it might be, maybe, I don't know if the quarterback's going to be their top rated player, but I will say that I feel like that Jordan Love would absolutely, when they get to 12, there'll be a discussion about him and whoever else is on that board.
That's interesting, Bryan. Besides what I just brought up to you, is there anything else that Will McClay said that kind of caught your ear and made you wonder a little bit?
Well, I think that it's always with Will when he's talking about the way that the draft is going to kind of, and they'll have to see how it all falls. But he seemed to feel like there's some pockets of players that might not be the top of the board, might not be the like we've seen in the past. But the further you get down into the middle of the board, that there might be more players there that they would be really, really comfortable with and are excited to potentially look at. So he was talking about having to figure out these safeties. I asked him the question about all these hybrid players. You and I we've studied a lot of these guys, and it's kind of the way that teams are looking. And so you have to find the skill sets, and it's really important for them. We mentioned the smarts, but the toughness, the ability to tackle, the ability to cover. Guys playing in the slot, guys playing deep. He said there are a lot of interesting safeties, and he didn't specifically say which interesting safeties, but I think you and I have kind of walked our audience through the type of safeties that teams are looking at. And these, like I say, the guys that can cover, they're smart, they can tackle. They're one of those. They make plays. I wouldn't be surprised one bit if we get to 20 and Dallas is looking at one of those guys that he was talking about.
News also came out while you guys were out there, Bryan, is that Jermiah McCoy, the cornerback from Tennessee, is not going to work out.
Yeah.
I know you hate it, but go on, tell us how you feel about that one, Bryan.
I didn't feel like that he was going to work at the combine. He is my number one corner.
Mm-hmm.
I have him over Delane from LSU.
Yeah.
There's some scouts that are interested to see what Delane measures, height and weight wise. And they're also interested to see what he runs. I had a scout tell me that if he runs under 4.48 or that time, a lot of people will feel better about him.
Mm.
I have Delane really high on my board. I think you do too.
Yeah.
But the McCoy situation, they feel like that they will not get a time, of course, as you just mentioned here at the combine, but they will be able to go to Knoxville and he will have a full workout for them. So you'll have your questions, your measurables, all those things answered for you on that player. This is not going to be one of those, we're going to have to guess, we're going to have to wait. There's questions about, and this one hurts me a little bit, Voch, is Tyson, the receiver at Arizona State, not doing anything. And the scouts are not sure when he's going to be able to work out. That hurts me. I knew that McCoy was probably not going to work here. I knew I was going to get him in Knoxville. But my number one wide receiver right now is struggling to be available for workouts. And all of a sudden, if we don't get that, well, then we could be very well be looking at Tate, Lemon, others be ahead of him in the stack.
Bryan, you said you had something for me too. You wanted to hear my thoughts if everything aligned well. What'd you have for me, sir?
Yeah. You know, when do you feel like that I'm going down the right path when I talk about the young coaches and their
for sure,
how they're going to fit?
For sure.
Or do you feel like, no, wait a minute, man, they hired these guys. We need to know their opinions. We need to know, am I going down the right path with that particular thought?
That's the one thing that I kind of disagree with Will McClay about, right?
Sure.
You was like, hey, Will McClay, do the young coaches ever come to you for advice? Because you've been in the league and we've been in college and shit. So we have a grand idea of college dudes, and Will McClay, you've been scouting pro guys, you know what I'm saying? Like, and Will was like, well, but they know ball and all this kind of stuff. And he really didn't, say it in that way. Bryan, let me tell you something. I wish I had my damn Don DeMarco button. I'm gonna just hit my bottle when I Don DeMarco. Bryan, all the bad Cowboy picks in the last 6 or 7 years have been coach decisions.
I agree. Yeah.
All the bad picks have been coach decisions. When you just kind of let the board do what it's gonna do, the board's normally fine, right? But man, when it's Mozzie and them, when it's Tristan Hill and them, Fehoko and them, Leofow and them, man, Shamar James and them, these are, and I've looked at them all and be like, hey man, this is a little high for me. This all those guys, everywhere you drafted them at, I was like, this is a little high for me. Those have all been coaching decisions, Bryan. And honestly, I would trust the dude. Like, for example, our outside linebacker coach from Georgia, Chidera Uzo Demire. He knows Georgia. He knows the shit out of Georgia.
Does.
I will ask him what he feel about C.J. Allen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I don't want to hear your advice because all you know is Georgia right now. You mostly know Georgia and who's Georgia has played. He may have some good advice on, because he's outside linebacker Georgia guy. He may know Caden Proctor really well because he's watched film on Caden Proctor so much from Alabama because they got to play each other and all that kind of shit, right? But I don't want to ask him about the safety from Oregon because that crossover didn't happen enough. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to whoever hell the Cowboys got scouting the West Coast. He been watching Thieneman since he was in high school, Bryan. You know what I mean? So I'm on your side about this. I don't want to hear from the coaches. I don't want to hear from the coaches at all. I want the scouts to lead this thing. I want Will to lead this thing. And Shotty seems to have a good feel. because he's kind of proven to me that he can do he can pick some dudes or whatever. But man, these brand new cats, I'm excited about y'all to come in here and coach, dog. But I don't want y'all coming in here picking players or nothing. That's just me.
Yeah, and I appreciate you saying that, because I personally don't want to be in a situation where, if it's a guy that you competed against, you're talking about a Georgia guy's talking about a Alabama guy or a Florida guy or something like that. Yeah, we had a real problem with this guy. We had a real problem with him when we did this or did that. And I just don't need coaches coming in there and having a big say in like the direction of this defense. I am interested in you telling. Christian Parker needs to be the lead dog in the sled, and everybody else needs to be behind the lead dog in the sled. And I hope that Christian Parker is one of those guys that will take that leadership role and say, okay, coach, thank you for your opinion, but scouts are going to handle this one. Scouts got this. I hope that Christian Parker looks at the stack, looks at the board, looks at how the scouts graded these guys, and trust the scouts. And I'm not saying the scouts are right all the time, because there have been some poor selections, and scouts have done that. Scouts have been a part of that. So my hope is that Christian Parker does not might just go in there and say, well, we're going to do this because this coach said this and this coach said that. I hope that's not the case at all.
Yeah, I agree, Brian. Hell, man. Besides that, what are you looking for today? What's on the agenda today?
I want to ask you another question, if I could, then too. And please. We kind of went into the part about the defensive line and the guys that they're visiting, or they're taking the opportunity to have a personal visit with. And you mentioned all these defensive tackles have been the guys. Is it giving you any more clues to maybe how, or the body type of guys that they're looking at to play these edges? I'm gonna die on the hill that I think that Cassius Howell is going to be the pick at 20. I just do. I'm looking at him and I'm thinking, man, you look like what they need playing this stand-up outside linebacker guy. So I just wonder, is the body type of the player, and maybe not to be, because I have an advantage right now that I get to see these guys live and how they look.
Yeah.
But are these tackles, they're telling you they're looking for a certain kind of guy, right? When they're interviewing these guys?
I do think mostly they just want to shake hands, dap, hug, and just talk to these people a little bit. When we start seeing 300-pound people walking around the Star, then that's your real, those are answers there. As far as body type goes, they didn't talk to Keldrick Falk yesterday, did they?
They did not, man. But people reminded me too, there's other players that they've drafted. I think that Guyton was a guy that somebody brought.
They didn't talk to Falk, Brian. Don't rain on my parade. They didn't talk to Falk, so we're not drafting Falk. It just I was kind of like, I was going, cheers. Good.
Yeah, cheers. Yeah, good.
Here.
I go, hey, congratulations. You guys got it figured out. I like this. I like this defensive coordinator already. Cheers.
To your point, though, I do think that the Cassius Howell body types are going to be in more demand, those stand-up rushy dudes.
I do too.
I think it's all going to come out soon. I just want to list a couple of them for anybody listening right now. Like the Melo Heights, the R. Mason Thomas, guys like that. I think they're going to be what the Cowboys are looking for. Derek Moore from Michigan, Josh Joseph, Tennessee, those stand-up linebacker dudes. I think dropping back is important, and I think that's why
it is.
I think that's why this Clowney news is kind of doing what it's doing, because I don't know if Clowney want to be a drop back guy, or if Christian Parker has a vision for him outside of being that. So yeah, I think that's the way, Brian. I think you're on to something there. They're looking for the linebackers more.
Yeah, it's funny. You mentioned R. Mason Thomas.
Yeah.
When you watch him on tape, and I'm not asking to compare him to a player, but what do you see body type with him when you watch him? Do you have a feeling on him when you watch him on tape?
He's I would say that he's on the slimmer side. Like he's not as big as like Messidor. Like Messidor is humongous. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But he is a slimmer guy. But I feel like Cassius is also kind of slim there. You know what I mean? But I don't know.
I'm gonna tell you something.
What you got?
Both guys are bigger than they are on tape.
Really?
And I don't know if it's a post peanut butter, get on it, get ready for the combine kind of a deal.
They've been lifting weights all season. Yeah.
I was standing with Jeff Kavanaugh.
Yeah.
And we were talking about Bane from Miami. And he goes, God, he looks shorter.
Mm-hmm.
But then I walked down 2 podiums and I saw Hal, and I go, he looks taller and a little bit thicker than I would say. And I'm thinking, okay, man, that's a good looking dude up there.
You know, it's interesting, Brian. Cassius Howe is listed as 6'2", 248.
He looks bigger than that. He looks bigger. I mean, he's the shoulders, the neck area. I mean, the way he's got really cool dreads that he ties up that looks really cool.
Yeah.
And so he's got part blonde, part black. You know, it looks really cool. Got some great looks.
Mm-hmm.
But then I walked down to R. Mason Thomas, Oklahoma, and I'm like, whoa. Who's that?
Yeah.
Who's that? I had to look at the nameplate. I'm like, that's R. Mason Thomas from Oklahoma?
Yeah.
Bigger, squarer, shoulders, wide-shouldered guy.
You see, it's
thicker
interesting,
guy.
Brian, I just looked it up. R. Mason and Cassius are listed as 6'2", and Bane is listed as 6'3", but they both look taller than him.
They look, Bane and Thomas look bigger than Bane. Like just standing there with sweats on. And so I'm thinking like, okay, I think if you were standing here with, and we'll do this one day, I just kind of feel like that, like, wait a minute now. I was expecting like R. Mason to be kind of a smaller, squattier kind of a guy, but he's taller and he's wider than I believe. So I was impressed by the body type. I'll tell you what, that David Bailey from Texas Tech, that's a good looking son of a gun too now.
Sure.
When him standing up there, I'm like going, wow, that is like, tall. You're thinking maybe what, 250 pound guy, right? I think it's what his, but
they all the same size relatively. Yeah. They all in that same range. Yeah.
Boy, he looks long. He looks tall. I could see why that he had the success that he had, but I was pleasantly surprised to see the A&M kids, and then our Oklahoma kid, and how he looked bigger than what he looked like on tape.
Man, Brian, we're gonna get one of them, man. Hopefully Cowboys do the right thing, man, and draft one of those guys. I think they'll probably take one of them dudes at 20, because I think the value would just make sense there. But we just gonna keep doing the work, and we'll cross that bridge when we get there, man.
Yeah, I'm interested. And you say it a lot when you're here, but you're running into scouts and they're kind of telling you, well, keep an eye on this and keep an eye on that, and like the lane and how he measures and how he runs. They're like, oh, there's some questions there, and I'm like, man, that film's damn good. Yeah, that's a damn good film guy right there.
Dane said some dudes had Bane as a 3 tech. I think that's good. Let him fall.
Yeah,
let him fall to us, Brian. I don't give a damn. Brian, we got some players to watch tomorrow. So I hope you ain't having too good of a time down there. You doing your homework still? No, I got my homework. I've been doing my homework every night. I've been going to dinner and then coming back, and it's been a lot of late nights and early mornings. But here we are. I've stayed to myself as
to doing my work though. But I appreciate the homework assignments.
You better than me, boy. I'd have been eating good down there and skipping that work, boy. You better than me.
I'm eating good. Like I say, I have to walk from the restaurants back to our hotel just to walk it off. So yeah.
Sound like me, man. This is what we got tomorrow. Everybody tap in with us. Write this down. This will be on the test. Got some homework for y'all, okay? Katron Allen, running back from Penn State. Malik Muhammad, cornerback from Texas. Keyshawn Allen, I've heard about him, linebacker from Arizona State. And Michael Taffe, safety from Texas. Me and Bryan going to break those guys down for February 27th. Yep, for February 27th, me and Bryan going to break those guys down tomorrow on the Doing All Right.
Voch, do we need to check? Did I get this wrong?
Please.
Did the Illinois corner that we talked about go back to school?
Xavier
Xavier Scott might have returned to Illinois. I hate to do this. I'm doing this on the fly right now. My apologies.
I'll Google this. Let me see. Xavier Scott.
But we had a nice report on the young man. But I had somebody.
Yeah. So he's going back to school. So shit. All right. Fine. Damn. All right. Shit. Damn, dog.
But you love when we do stuff. And it's like, hey man, it's part of the show. It's part of the show. I had somebody reach out to me and say, love your guys' content. Love everything you're doing. I think your guy Scott went back to Illinois. So it made me mad. It made me mad that I was going to have to take a guy off my board.
What the hell he on the list for then?
We sometimes you get the misinformation. It's okay. Misinformation sometimes, but I thought the kid was a good player because we were talking about him and Will Lee. The
now
two guys.
Now I got to move Lee up one spot. Now, so look, Will Lee get a little better now.
There you go. But thank you very much for everybody out there that I've been reading all the comments. I really appreciate what you guys are saying about me and Voch and the shows and the channel and everything we're doing. Really, we can't thank you guys enough. We really, really can't.
I agree. Gracias. Appreciate y'all for tapping in with us. You have your list of players to watch. Y'all go watch those guys, and we'll come back tomorrow and we'll break them all down here. And we might have a little something else. Some more news may happen, Bryan. We don't know what the hell's gonna go. You know what I'm saying? Things are happening. So be sure to tune in to the Doing All Right tomorrow. It might be a longer show because it's a Friday, Bryan. We'll see. We'll cross that bridge.
Yeah, I tell you what, man. I mean, the place is hopping, and we're going to get some guys rolling through behind me. I know the linebackers, but we got workouts we got to talk about too tomorrow. So there'll be some guys. We'll actually have some heights, weights, speeds. We'll have some guys, some winners, some losers. I think anybody that participates out there is a winner. Scouts love guys that like to compete. So we'll see some guys, some winners out there getting it done today, and we'll be able to talk about them here on our channel tomorrow.
Hey, Bryan, where can I find It's all on crownglobmedia.com, everything that you're looking for. If you're looking for the merch, you're looking for the audio platforms. We got our scout books, our stack scout notebooks. I got to ask you how many of these we done sold, Bryan, because I love these to pieces. We got our,
I do too.
Got our stack draft notebooks over there on the website. Check those out. My work is over there. I've been putting a bunch of videos on my channel. Y'all be sure to tap in with that. He is Crown Globe Media on Twitter. I'm sure he's going to be reposting and talking and commenting on the Aubrey's line on him. And I'm Voch Lombardi on all social medias. We'll catch y'all tomorrow, all right? Crown.